Right. So let me get to this next topic. Cause we was just talking about AI. Do you think AI will get, and technology in itself will get to the point where they will replace companionship and relationships?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a robot.
I love technology and I follow technology a lot and all the trends in the market, and it will. The same way that we are obsessing over Tinder and Bumble and all these apps and it's less interpersonal, the same way after 2020 hit, everything is now virtual and remote and less interpersonal, less face-to-face. Now people are losing jobs to kiosks and machines. Yeah, it's going to get lonelier for a lot of people.
But
and that's really scary.
Like emotionally, how
that-
does AI help you?
That hinders your ability to interact with other humans. Like eventually in another world, podcasts are going to be on Zoom or something. Like it's not going to be in person. You're not going to have that same bond and that type of relationship.
See, but the question was though, I felt like you said in romantic relationships,
Yeah.
how would an AI technology
Have you ever seen? There's a
fill that
movie.
emotional
There's a
void?
movie called Her, and it's an older movie. I think it's like
That's the one where he was in love with like Siri or something.
he was loving Siri. Yes, he was in love with this. I think he developed the software, and this is before ChatGPT. This was ahead of his time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he developed this program that had this algorithm that was able to speak to him and knew him on a intimate level, and he legit fell in love with this this program. So that's why I think where the ChatGPTs could come in, because they understand the humans probably better than we understand each other. They're running off of a search engine that has years of like data on human emotion, like relationships. So they can, you know, I just seen OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, the parent company. They just revealed a new program, version of ChatGPT where it's visual now and it can speak to you. So it's having a full blown conversation. And it doesn't sound like Siri. It sounds like an actual human voice. So, you know what I mean? Having the conversations, using the mannerisms. You know what I mean? We're already getting to the point where women and men are feeling comfortable using sex toys, and I don't need that relationship. I got my toy. I got the Vibrator 3000, the Clip Bunny 3000. Like,
Shout out to
we
Rose
got
Kwan.
the Pussy Pocket 5000. Shout out to Big Bro. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Rose Kwan.
see, we on came out with names to these motherfuckers. Like
Rose Kwan. Yeah.
is the name of your vibrator?
Rose Kwan? Rose Kwan. You know, we don't gotta give Rose Kwan too much airtime, but I do feel like, you know, there will be a time. I think especially like
that nigga vibrating right now. He like,
I think that, you know, I was having this conversation the other day with one of my friends.
With
like,
Rose Kwan? Oh, I was like, what?
You know what? Not too much.
Yeah.
Where it's like the further removed from dating that I become, or like my friend was agreeing, like that we become, the more complacent we are with kind of just like waiting for it to happen and kind of like being on our own. So like it's more of like an attention and a conversational thing than it is like craving relationships for a lot of times. So
But is it that you're complacent or you're just learning to love yourself? Because those are two different.
Oh, that's tea. I think honestly it started off with loving myself, but then it became a sort of complacency because I'm at a point where like let a nigga mispronounce a word and I'm ready to cut him off. Like and it's like, I know that sounds crazy and I'm not okay with being in that place.
Like,
Yeah, no, and I can admit, like, I'm not okay with being in that place, but I think that the farther removed you are from that, the harder it gets to get back in. So I think that if you're in a place where, you know, we're working from home and we're like doing everything online now, I know like even with the games, they have concerts on like Roblox and Fortnite or whatever. And it's like, if you don't have to leave your house for things because you can get it online, you can start to develop a reluctancy to going outside when you know that you can get it from the access of your home. So if I'm having good conversation and I got Rose Kwan sitting in the corner waiting for me when I finish, it's like, you know, I may, you know, and I know it's terrible because as humans, we crave that human attention as well. But I just say that in a place of vulnerability because I can easily see it being like, I don't have to put up with nobody else. Like I can end the conversation when I want to. I don't have to be combative with somebody if I don't want to. Do I want to get married? Still, I hope this is not a turn off to nobody. I still would like to have obviously like a real life husband.
You do?
But I do. But I say all of that to say that I can see how it can transition into that place. There was an episode of Black Mirror. I don't know if y'all watched Black Mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So have you seen the episode with they had the VR headset?
Yes.
And it was the two men.
See, but the problem was, it was real people. It was real people behind that. Still.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
just
but
where
do
they
you-
avatars.
were
They
was
started out as
not real.
avatars.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still them.
That's
for
true.
Sure. So it's like they're still talking to real people.
That was
So no
some
matter what,
crazy-ish, man.
technology can only be enhanced as much as we are. You know what I mean?
That's
But
not
you don't
true.
But they
think
were
that-
avatar. They was
Yeah,
attracted
I
to the
was-
avatar.
Technology is
Yeah,
way
you
more
don't think
advanced
that
than
like
was they?
AI can
I don't-
replicate what a human could
Yes,
do
but
in
I
an
don't
avatar
think
they can do it
situation?
better.
I don't think
Hello.
ever AI or anything will ever replace actual human interaction, because at the end of the day, as humans, we need to go outside. We need to step out. We need to talk to real people, because as things have proven to us, like being solo or like when people are in jail and they're left in a room alone, that will drive you crazy. And for a time, you can put up with it, right? But it will lead to depression. It will lead to other
We're
underlying
seeing
issues.
it right now.
There's
How many
statistics
people
for
are
COVID.
dealing with depression and anxiety
and
right
after
now?
COVID, at
Especially,
that.
yeah, I was gonna say,
After
but
COVID,
I do
social
think
anxiety.
everything is relative though. I think they're like, once again, I can speak to seeing in the future that being the case for a lot of people. Not to say that I want that for myself, but I think there are people who are reclusive and who probably would prefer to be in their house. And it's not, it doesn't mean that they'll develop, depression or anything because they don't crave that human interaction. It's just like, I don't want to be bothered. They're
comfortable.
yeah, and if you have people for years that have never left their house before AI was a thing, before everything
COVID.
was before COVID, before everything was so accessible, and now it's like you're telling me that I can still have the same dynamic of me being alone by myself and actually feel some kind of interaction, like.
And he got the Daquan attachment 3000, like you know what I'm saying? Like,
Crazy.
yo,
Get the job
that shit
done.
coming on Amazon right to your front door.
That's a
Like,
fact.
yo, that's,
But what this make me think of is iRobot.
Yes.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
you got all these robots in everybody's crib. Eventually, these robots going to go mind their own, and know what I mean, it's going to be
They're gonna
iRobot
take
all over again.
over.
So
That's what's scary about AI.
You know what's
It's
crazy?
not
I'm not on board with this AI.
Like
takeover,
people
but-
watch sci-fi films and they think like, oh, this can never happen. But sci-fi films are almost predicting and telling you what's.
I
really
never
gonna
think that.
happen.
I always think this is gonna
Yes.
happen.
They always,
Yeah.
like
I always know.
you give it a decade or something. You like, damn, this was like just he was bringing up her. That was before his time.
Like, did you see how the
Yeah.
Simpsons? Anybody watch the Simpsons?
Yeah,
I know they.
How they be predicting things
Mhm.
years before? That's scary.
Yeah.
They be
Yeah, it
predicting like elections, all that kind of stuff. I'm 100% like, I know whoever's creating these sci-fi robot movies, they know something we don't know, because
Right.
that kind of stuff.
technology is more advanced.
That kind of stuff can't just come out of your mind and like not exist. They know. I feel like people who are writing these movies, they know something about technology that is above our time that we have just not figured out yet, or just
Big
hasn't
time
been released
traveling.
to the public yet.
So there's this podcast called The Diary of a CEO. And he interviewed the former, I believe he was like the head of either Google or Microsoft. And he was also a part of the evolution of AI. And he was coming on this podcast to literally warn the world that eventually AI and technology is going to be so powerful that we're not going to be able to stop it. And we're going to see this happen in the next 5 to 10 years. There's
Damn, 5 to
also...
10 years.
quick.
And then it's happening very quick. It's going to happen so drastically. And the pandemic was a part of that strategy to lead to that. So in the next 10 years, we're going to see a very big revolutionary change by 2030, where everything's going to be less interpersonal. And this is also being documented by the UN. This is something that is really happening. It's being worked by elitist groups. So this is something that's being rolled out. And it's
This
something...
is real. This
yeah.
is real shit that
This is real.
we got to worry about, but we over here worrying about who won Kendrick or Drake. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's real shit happening.
But
in
even
this
that,
world.
Drake
Like,
used AI with that too. Like it's literally just like it's infiltrating.
but look how like realistic it sounded. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It sounded like Snoop and Pac almost to a T. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
That's a
if
fact.
like we're no longer in the era of hearing Siri and it sounds very robotic, and we could blatantly tell that's a robot. Like now, this shit really sounds like I can't.
They're
The
stealing our
scam calls,
voices.
the scams, the voice calls is gonna be crazy. It's gonna really sound like your mom like need some money or
They already
something.
started doing that.
Like,
They did
Yeah.
start doing that. There is scam calls that sound like somebody.
oh shit!
Like, you
see?
see-
They already started doing that.
I don't know. This is a long time ago that happened, but when Kanye and Kim were married, he paid. It was I don't know. It was like millions of dollars. He paid someone to replicate her dead dad to give her a message for her birthday, basically
It's
telling
true.
her, "Oh, I'm so proud of you," and it was so realistic. Like they got it down to his mannerism, and it basically was someone studied old videos of him and mimicked that like robotically and made a message for her
That's crazy.
from her dead father. Imagine if he could have done that, and that was years ago. That was like 5-6 years ago. If he could have done that, what people could do now, you know, if that was
Yeah.
possible. Like, and she was like, it sounded like they released the video. It sounded like her dad, looked like her dad. She even said his mannerisms were the same, the way his hands were. That's terrifying. That like you can essentially bring people back from the dead doing something like that. You know?
Yeah.
I just want to say I prefer the vagina over the pocket pussy.
And niggas saying that now.
Have you
Like,
used- are you
yeah,
speaking from
yeah.
experience?
Yeah, I tried it. I mean,
Oh,
I'm like, that's the only way. That's the only way he would know. He tried it.
Hey,
I mean, I can
Listen.
judge.
all I know is they're gonna have AI where the shit is gonna listen. AI, the shit gonna get crazy. Bro, this shit gonna get wet crazy. Shit gonna be tight crazy. Like this shit gonna be just too crazy. Like,
And
you know
you
what I
gonna
mean?
to
And you
answer
can
your
probably adjust that
question,
motherfucker.
I feel like
too.
AI is not going to replace the way we feel, our generation, older generations, the way we feel about human interaction. I think kids growing up now are already getting used to that world.
Yeah.
They're already on iPad kids. And the schools are using iPads, computers. They have phones at the age of 10, calling people, FaceTiming. I went to the
Zoom
hair salon today,
classes.
and a 7-year-old is like FaceTiming her friend.
Yeah.
So they're already getting used to it. So when AI takes over, it's going to be a shock to us, and we're going to be dealing with all these probably mental disorders, but they're going to be fine. It's just
Using
going to be it's the
ChatGPT
new
for homework.
reality.
Yeah. Yo, Jew was just saying that his kids was. I don't know if it's ChatGPT, but they was using some type of like this AI shit like for.
But shout out to
homework or
Drew
whatever.
keeping his
probably
kids
that.
active though.
That is a fact. Gotta keep the kids
Period.
active.
God, you don't see many kids outside these days.